Okay, I've been admiring the work of this artist for a while, and I'm super glad they came to my house. Julie Bull is a poet, coach, workshop facilitator, and performer based in Prince Edward Island. We had a great talk about their somewhat unorthodox origin story as a poet, the value of practicing vulnerability and courage, and how their visual art practice helps with producing written work.
You don't know what to do, and you don't know what to say. Forget all that. Start anyway. Spark that fire and build it high, and watch it burn. Then let it die.
Hello, Julie Bull.
Hello.
Thank you for coming out here.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's so fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so as I said earlier, I've been following you a lot on social media, and just watching all of the different things that you seem to be doing all the time is exhausting for me. So I have some questions in that. Fully understanding that it's a job like any other, and the need to hustle in the arts is greater than in other jobs. Where do you find the energy for not only making art, but publishing, performing, coaching, mentoring, working with community groups? The list goes on.
So I get asked this a lot because I am an introvert and I prefer to be home in my basement studio creating and doing the things on my own. And I also get very energized by seeing other people create and express themselves. And so as much as it can be tiring from like an introvert, extrovert perspective, being around people all the time can be hard. And I for sure then have to go home and recharge and be by myself. I build that in. So like when I have weekends where I'm doing stuff all weekend, then my schedule is empty on Monday and Tuesday for me to be home to create and to not have to be around people. I love people and I need to not be around people. And so that can be hard when most of the things I do is around people. And so for some people, like I have friends who are performers who love being on the spotlight and being the center of attention, and they just crave being on the stage for that reason. I don't have that desire. And I don't know why I do it, to be honest. Like I see what happens when I do it, that it opens space for other people to also do it. Like courage is contagious. And so when I do the thing, it helps other people do the thing. And then that helps me keep doing the thing. But when I'm on a stage for a night, I then need to not be seen for days afterwards. So in 2024, I was in the Fringe Festival where I wrote and performed a solo show for 4 nights in a row. And I will never do that again. Like by day 2, I'm like, I have to do this again 2 more times after today. Like I need to build in the recovery period in between. And so I don't have the same kind of draining energy from helping other people. Like having one-to-one time is my favorite. The coaching, the mentoring, the supporting people in finding their own creative spark. That is super energizing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And it's a real learning experience to get to that point of knowing how much time you need to recover from these things, for sure. And one-on-ones, I find totally fine also, which is why I like this kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned courage, because I've seen you mention courage a few times in different things that I've been seeing from you online. You've suggested that it takes courage to be an artist and share your art with the world. Why do artists need to be courageous? And what else do we need to be?
I mean, I think courageous is a big one because often many artists are creating from their own experience, whether it is from an emotional or psychological standpoint, or just in how we observe and experience the world. Either way, it's coming from us. It's a thing that didn't exist before, and then we made it. And so in my previous life as an academic, I was traveling around the world, talking in front of thousands of people, and it did not feel vulnerable. It did not feel hard to get up in front of thousands of people and talk about technical things and things that I've learned from a book and things that I've observed along the way. Very different than I made this poem that comes from my heart about hard things, and now I'm going to say it in front of somebody else. Like
Here's my soul.
Yeah. And then the stakes are so much higher because if somebody didn't like the way I presented before, who cares? Like you just didn't care for my presentation style. But when you're sharing something that's so personal, it's a higher stake in doing that. I also think that for me, at least, the courage leads to confidence. Like I didn't start out confident, and still I have moments as a creator that I do not feel confident in what I'm creating, especially not to put it out to the world. I feel confident in creating for my process and for my own mental well-being and for the things that I do alone. But the thing that happens when you share it is something different. So having confidence to do that, for me at least, the courage comes first. I just keep trying until it feels okay to share. A line in one of my most recent books is, I will keep practicing being brave until being brave feels like breathing. And then it's just that. It's just to keep trying, and it doesn't feel as hard anymore. It starts to feel more natural to just be like, oh yeah, I made this poem today and it's just raw and I didn't edit it yet. And I'm going to share it now. Wow.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I couldn't have imagined doing that.
Why do you think we really want to share art? Why do you think we have that drive?
And I think it's a way to connect with people. It's a way to build relationships. It's a way to
Especially
understand.
for introverts.
Yes, exactly. Especially for introverts. And like, I think that's also why I really enjoy a variety of medium in art. Like looking at different paintings and wondering not just what the person who created it thought or felt, because that's one thing. We can never really know that. I'm not big on analyzing what other people have created, but what is it doing to me? What is it sparking in me? And so the same thing happens then when I create something, put it into the world. I don't know what's going to happen with it when people pick up a book or look at a piece of art on the wall. I have no idea. But it's fun to imagine what it might spark in them. And then knowing that's a way that we can connect. And especially when I do work, say, for example, my work in the queer community, we get to create things to show each other that we're not alone in experiencing these variety of things that can be challenging and can feel very isolating when we're just doing it on our own in our cozy, comfy basement studio. But then sharing it, realize like, oh, right, other people are also experiencing this and it's not as isolating. And it helps us belong, I think, have a sense of belonging within this maddening world that we live in.
100%. Yeah, inside a maddening world, and also coming from such different backgrounds and family dynamics and, good jobs and bad jobs and good situations. Like it's all part of it.
Yeah, and to know that like we are all worthy of taking up the space. I think that so many people think that they don't deserve to take up space, that they don't deserve to have their voices being heard. And I grew up believing that, being told that like, who do you think you are to have anything to say in the world? Well, we all do. Everybody has a really cool, unique thing to share with the world.
Yeah.
And so the more any of us do that, the more we open the space for other people to do that. And then that helps me keep being courageous enough to keep trying it, even when it feels very scary.
Yeah. And it does feel scary. I know when I was starting out songwriting and singing, it was a very scary thing to get out, but I knew I needed to do it and I had to perform and I needed to share things. And then as you get into it, it does become easier. You get better at being brave and courageous. I have noticed that when you stop doing it like I did regularly, the courage needs a little bit more work to
It's like
back.
a muscle, right? Like when we're not using it, like, oh crap, I got to do a bit more work now to get back to that place where I feel comfortable doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I was writing poetry since I could hold a crayon, but I never shared any of it. 10 years ago was the first time I shared it, and it was by accident when a friend was visiting and my notebook was on the table, and he opened it and read it and was like, wait a second, you make poetry? Like nobody in my life had any idea. Like that was a thing I just did for me. That was not for anybody else.
Well, that's a good segue into my next question. I saw a post of yours from last November on Instagram, and you were recounting how 5 years earlier on that day, you started forming your first poetry collection. And you said in that post, I didn't know I was an artist yet, but you had decades of writing in front of you to choose from. So when did you realize that you were an artist and had been all along?
It's so interesting. I think that the word artist still kind of feels weird. Like I think I'm a creator. I think I'm a creative. But artist to me, I think it's because it feels like a gate-kept word. It feels like a thing that people have to have a certain level of training or experience or education to be an artist. So I try to call myself an artist as a practice of being uncomfortable with identifying as a thing that I don't think I really am. And I think it's because I have an academic background that's not in the arts. I have never taken creative writing at university. I have a PhD that's not in anything creative. And so that part of my brain says, well, if you haven't went to school, if you don't have degrees in this thing, then how can you call yourself that thing? But I do think we're all creatives. I think every human being is inherently a creative. We are created to create, period. Like whatever that looks like. And people have talked about it on this podcast before, right? Everything, whether it's plants, cooking, how you create your space, all of it's creative. But I realized that I was artistic in things beyond writing in 2021 when I had the greatest bout of writer's block I've ever had.
Mm.
And I literally took a crayon and a lighter and started melting wax on a canvas. That was my first foray into expressive arts outside of writing. Because for my whole life up to that point, writing is how I processed. Because again, I was never writing with the intention to share it, never about performing it, never about anybody ever seeing it. For me, writing poetry has always been therapeutic. It's always been a way to process. As an introvert, I do not process my feelings and thoughts out loud with other people. That's weird to me. Like
So weird.
and I think maybe many artists feel that they're like, no, I need to process it first, and then maybe later can talk about it. And so, writing poetry and then sharing it, whether it's in real time or even shortly after it, it's a practice in being very vulnerable, because now people are actually seeing and experiencing what I'm feeling close to when I'm feeling it, rather than just this being a thing that I'm doing completely on my own.
Mm-hmm. I think you already answered my follow-up question, which was, why do you think people don't consider themselves artists even if they are consistently making art? Yeah, it's the I think that's partly the word. It means something to a lot of people that doesn't compute to them. Like, it doesn't
Yes.
make sense in their lives. And also there's the whole like selling art thing.
Well, that's the
which
thing. I
is
think there's the
other thing.
commercial side of it too, right? For people, like, and it's hard as somebody who loves to create for the sake of creating, and I'm endeavoring to make some kind of a living from doing creative things. That can be a challenge, because I don't want to just make things for the sake of making them to sell. I'm not
Yeah.
interested in that. So everything I do create comes first just for the sake of creating it. And then if I get to sell something, that's great, but that's not the point or the purpose, which is why I enjoy being able to offer other types of things for fees,
Mhm.
like coaching and mentoring and delivering workshops. Though I'm not an academic anymore, I miss teaching. I miss the parts of being a professor that I don't want to be a professor, but I want to be able to still do the mentoring and the teaching. So how can I do
Mhm.
that in a more creative way? So I'm kind of trying to find that balance.
Yeah. You say you were a 2-year-old philosopher, and now you're a recovering academic with a PhD turned artist. What are the connections between philosophy and poetry? And how do you think your academic career has helped prepare you for your creative writing career?
I think that my whole life, there's been this creative part of me that's been bursting to come out that I just wasn't paying attention to. Because for me, um, being academically inclined and living completely from the neck up was like survival. I didn't have to deal with my feelings or think about traumatic things or process hard stuff. I could just live in my head and be super cerebral and just think about stuff. So, like, I've always loved philosophy. My mom says that. That's how she describes me, as a 2-year-old philosopher, just being like, you never outgrew the why stage. Like, you still need to know why everything. And that's still true. I'm in my 40s and I still want to know why everything. Why do we do the things that we do?
Mhm.
And so for me, philosophy, art, poetry, they're all very connected. Like the understanding and exploring and examining bigger picture things, like why,
Mhm.
how, what are we doing here? What's the meaning of any of it? I think many artists explore those things, whether or not it's super conscious. Like, I don't think we sit down and go, well, what is the meaning of life? And then try to write a poem about it. But I think all of the explorations are toward that, toward understanding why we're here, what are we doing, how do we exist in relationship with each other.
Yep.
Yeah, all those things are very connected.
Yeah.
And I remember in my academic life when doing things that were very technical, like research ethics, research methods, again, the how we do stuff, like less about what we're doing and more about how. So it was always about relationships. It was always about connection. It was always about finding innovative ways to do things that we may not otherwise know how to do. And so people would always comment like, wow, your PowerPoint slides are so creative, because they would just like copy and paste paragraphs of text from a paper into a slide. And then that was their version of making a slideshow.
Right.
Whereas I, of course, would make it visual and like have fun ways of putting sound in there and like using other forms, not just words. Like, we're not going to only learn from reading words on a slide. I can read your paper at home. If you're going to give me a presentation, I want that to be a more embodied experience.
Mhm.
And so I think I've always been practicing that, even though I for sure would not have called myself an artist back then. I would have hardly called myself creative. In fact, I was terrified. I had a partner one time who loved to paint. would constantly bring out the materials and put in front of me, and I would feel paralyzed. Like, I would hold the paintbrush and just be like, I don't know what to do with that. I'm going to go read a textbook. Like, I didn't know what
Yeah.
to do with it. And I realize now it's because there's such a profound healing that happens when we let ourselves express whatever the mess is,
Yeah.
and to not have to put words to it.
Yeah.
And as a person who's a writer, at first that was hard. I'm like, well, if I can't put words to it, it's not real. I have to put words to it, otherwise it doesn't exist. But then I realized that the act of expressing, so most of my process art that never gets seen by anybody, is just that. I am processing and integrating hard things, traumatic things, big feelings. I don't need to put words to them, but I can feel the difference in my whole being after I've done it. So one of my practices is bilateral drawing, using two hands at the same time to make marks on paper. Big rolls of paper where the whole body can get involved. I do not draw. I cannot draw. I do not have those skills. But I can do bilateral drawing. I can make marks on paper. Just like all children learn how to make marks, they learn how to dance, they learn how to make sound from their mouth. Like, we do all of those things inherently when we're tiny.
Yeah.
And then we usually stop doing them because of school, because of society, because of whatever. But I think coming back to those very basic expressive arts has changed my life entirely. Like, the me of now, or the me of pre-pandemic, could not imagine the me of now. Like, they would not believe you if you would have said that I would be spending my life doing creative, artistic things.
How cool is that?
It is so cool. And I can't imagine going back to the way it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been diving into a lot of just making art of whatever kind, drawing. And again, like you, I'm not a good drawer. Like, I've never been able to draw things that people can recognize as something.
Yes.
Like, it's just like, it's not what I do.
Oh, nice blobs.
Exactly. But yet, I learned at an early age that what I really love is the actual art of doing something, or the feeling that you get when you're actually making art. So, and I knew when I took, classes at 12 years old at community school that I loved putting paint on I didn't really like what happened at the end of putting
Process
paint
over product
on a canvas, but I just love doing it.
Well, because I think we think it's supposed to look a certain way, right? I feel like back to the artist thing, the word artist being gatekept, I think what art is also like we have it ingrained in us that it's a certain thing when it isn't. Like, looking around here and seeing, like, these are obviously flowers on this painting. This could be anything, right? We could look in here and find 100 different things in an abstract painting. And I think it's about that. It's letting go of perfectionism. It's letting go of what the product will be at the end and just focusing on the process. We don't live in a world that wants us to do that for anything. Like, it's always about output and productivity and what will it look like at the end, not about what did it take for us to get there. Yeah. And I think the more we can do that and play, like, for me, play has been very helpful in just letting go of that. Like, imagine what would 5-year-old me want to do? They would just want to have fun with this and put stitches in leaves and, like, play with dirt. Like, they would not give any shits about the output. They would just have fun doing the thing.
It's kind of a radical thing these days.
It's a super radical thing for adults to just play. Yeah. And I think we need to do more of that.
Yeah. I think there's a movement that's starting, and
agreed.
It's going to continue.
Yep.
And I'm into it.
Me too.
So there seems to be an increased popularity lately with romantic and erotic writing. And you recently published a collection of erotic poems, On the Tip of My Tongue, which is such a great title. I have my own assumptions about why this is happening now in the world, but I'm wondering why you think it's happening, and did it make it easier to release a collection like that now?
I'm not sure, actually. So what's actually been very interesting is that I have been facing something that I wasn't anticipating since I published this book, which is more backlash than I've ever experienced in other things that I have done. And I was not expecting that to happen because of the rise in romance, erotica in other genres. I thought that would translate also to poetry. Why wouldn't it? Like, it's also another literary art. Why wouldn't we enjoy talking about those things here?
It is PEI, though.
But even beyond PEI. Really? Yeah. And so, like, I've been trying to, like, get my books out to wider spaces because I'm I'm not into doing the Amazon way of doing things, so I'm trying to do it from a more ground up way, which is way harder. Of course, it's harder.
Of course.
How do I get a worldwide audience from my little home in Charlottetown? I don't know yet. But I'm trying to like branch out into other, at least Atlantic and more regional bookstores and stuff. And some folks have initially been super excited because they've heard of maybe another book that I made, but then they look me up and they see that I recently did this erotic event at the Arts Guild that brought together like burlesque and live painting and a variety of other art medium with erotic poetry. They see the erotic poetry book and they say, "Oh no, we can't carry your books. This may cause waves in the community." And I'm like, "What do you mean cause waves in the community? We are all consenting adults doing things that all adults do."
And this
like
has been
most
around for
forever. Like so
it's
it's
not new.
I was not expecting that, and it's
Interesting.
taken me back a little bit to be like, "Huh, why in 2026 is this a thing?" Because like
Yeah.
I haven't watched or read the books or show of Heated Rivalry, but I sure have heard all about Heated Rivalry, and people tell me that's very explicit and that
It is. I read
and
it.
very popular.
Yeah.
And so it's curious to me
Yeah.
why.
What's the difference?
And it's too new because this only happened last month, like the book coming out and kind of trying to get it out into the world. So I'm not sure yet why
Mm,
it's coming up against such
yeah.
a brick wall, but it is.
Yeah. I don't know why. I don't see any reason
No,
why
me either.
there should be any.
And, part of the reason why I've always, because just like all of my books, I don't sit down and go, okay, I'm going to write a book now and it's about this and I'm going to make the book. I always go, oh, it's time to put out a book about this. And then I go through my decades worth of thousands of poems at this point and go, these are the ones that will live in
Yeah.
this book. And so I've been writing erotic poetry for a long time, again, as a means of healing and working through and processing trauma. And I've done that in workshops with people, and people are like, whoa, I have surprised myself with being able to connect to pleasure and to desire and to parts of me that I thought I wasn't allowed to because
Yeah.
it's still kind of taboo. And it shouldn't be. It's 2026. We should just be like free to explore ourselves and our bodies and reclaim our bodies in whatever ways that we want to. And so the show that we did at the Arts Guild very much was that. It was a celebration and exploration of lots of different bodies, lots of different genders, lots of people playing with different genders and bodies, and yeah, it was amazing.
I think Charlottetown Burlesque is doing great.
Yeah, and they have a
Great
whole
things
summer
in that
series
area.
this year,
I
which
saw
is
that.
amazing.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
You host workshops from time to time, and a popular one is 30 Poems in 30 Days. Lots of artists talk about songwriting or novel writing challenges like this as a great way to get creative juices flowing and building confidence and learning new skills. What do you like about this way of creating? And what kind of feedback have you gotten from your participants about this?
It's definitely one of my most popular ones now. So this past April was the 3rd year in a row that I did it. And every year there are repeat people. That's, to me, always feels like that's the best endorsement, right? If somebody did a thing and they liked it so much, they come back and do it again. And they're paying for a thing again to do it again. And this last year in 2025, when I did 30 Poems in 30 Days, it was a slog for me because I also participate. When I create the workshop, I deliver it, and I also participate in it. So it kind of helps me too to be able to keep building my own practice. And I slogged through April of 2025. Like, it was very hard. I did technically make 30 new poems-ish, but like they were short, they were not, it was just hard.
Yeah.
This year in 2026, I wrote over 400 new poems, like in 30 days. And I was not expecting that. I was not in a flow before April. But we have a meeting online on April 1st where we kind of all get together. We talk about process. We talk about what are some of the blocks we know we're going to have. And I also recently did a working through writer's block workshop because I think we all kind of get stuck in the same types of blocks. So whether it's like initiation blocks, it's perfection blocks. Regardless of the genre, we kind of get stuck in specific ways. And so then hearing from other people, how do we work through them? If I know about myself that I'm a perfectionist, and if I'm not going to write a banger spoken word piece and that's going to take me 5 minutes to read, well, I'm not going to write anything. If I know that about myself, then my practice is to just write something, anything.
Yeah.
And obviously of those 400 poems, many of them are ridiculous and are never going to be in a book. They're never going to be anywhere.
Yep.
But they're there. They're on paper. I filled this beautiful, gigantic notebook full of new poems. And we created space for each other to share and to keep each other motivated. Because of course you come in at the beginning like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then by like maybe the second, third, or fourth day, for some people are like, okay, this is hard and I'm
We're still
done
doing
now.
this.
Yeah, is it over yet? And so having a group of people doing it together helps people stay motivated. They're also sharing what they're creating. Like we have a little group online where you can share what you made.
Mhm.
So people can be like, oh, wow, I never thought about making a poem in that shape or using blackout poetry, or whoa, you put visual art alongside words and mash them together. Mind blown. Like we just sometimes need to see examples of how other people are interpreting the exact same prompt. Because
Yeah.
of course we have the 30 prompts. They're the same for all of us. We're all
Mhm.
looking at the same images every day. So I make the workbook that has both visual art and a word or a phrase or something to do. Like people said this year, wow, you really had us working for it this year, Julie. Like the prompts were like to really do stuff, like get out and move around and like feel
Yeah.
yourself in your body. And then we all interpret it differently because we're all different humans.
Mhm.
So to me, that's so much fun just to see how
Yeah.
whatever it was, like 20 people took the same word or
Mhm.
phrase and created 20 completely different things.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I think I mentioned it before here, but years ago I did this song challenge. It was through Facebook. It was a Facebook group, and a friend of mine and I did it together, and we would come up with a. Well, actually, when people joined the group, they would give us a song title or an idea, and I put it. Actually, I wrote all those out and put them physically into like a jar, and it would pick from one every week. And people would have 3 days to write a song, record a song, and upload it to the group for Sunday, basically. And how cool to see all the different things that
Absolutely.
people would come up with. What you were talking about reminded me of The Artist's Way.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done that?
I've done bits and parts of that. I
Yeah.
feel like because of its time being written in the early 90s, it's not a very trauma-informed book.
Yeah,
And so the
true.
first time I tried doing it, I'm like, whoa, you're asking me to get into some childhood shit that I am not prepared to do on my own. However, there's practices in there that I love, like morning pages. I dabble in and out of them, like maybe now for almost 2 decades, long before I was an artist, because
Yeah.
an old therapist of mine 25 years ago or so was like, I think you'd really benefit from the artist's way. She also clearly was not trauma informed enough to be like, maybe you should go slow though. But she recognized in me this need for expression and thought, you like to write. This is a nice practice. And it is like letting streams of consciousness just flow. Yes, because you're getting out of your head. Just get out of your head. I think for most of us, that's we're still living up here.
Yep.
And we would benefit greatly from living in our bodies or our hearts, even just like a fraction of the time. I also love the idea of the artist state, like just kind of taking yourself out, exploring something different. Like after I leave here today, I'm like, I don't come up here often. I'm going to go hang out a bit, even though it's kind of cold and chilly. And I am wearing shorts because long pants season is over for me. I refuse to put long pants back on, even though it was like -1 this morning.
It's cold in here too. If you need a blanket,
No,
you just
I'm from Labrador. I am polar bear. But yeah, artist way, definitely. There's parts of it that I quite enjoy, but I also think people need to be cognizant of, not forcing yourself to go deeper than you can on your own with a book without any kind of support in doing it.
Yeah, true. That's a good tip. It's been a while since I did it, so I kind of forgot about traumatic parts.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard because I think for some people, especially if they have any tendency towards perfectionism, they want to do every activity and every prompt and everything that's in there. And some of them are really asking you to dig deep into hard parts. And if you haven't yet done the work of processing childhood trauma, that can be a very challenging thing to do.
100%. Yeah. What is your relationship to drawing and painting and visual art? And do you think that influences your writing or vice versa?
I think they're all related for sure. I think my visual art is much more process oriented. I would say 95% of the things I make visually don't ever see the light of day. Nobody
Mhm.
else ever sees
Me
it.
too.
That's really just for me.
Yep.
I came across bilateral drawing during the pandemic. I think it was maybe 2022. There's a person in BC who did a lot of virtual things, and they were hosting a group for neurodivergent people who were trying to find new ways to express themselves. So I'm like, hey, okay, I'll try that. And BC is so far enough away that I probably won't know these people. So that felt safer at that moment to do that. And so I did. And then I'm like, ooh, I can now say I can draw because I can't draw. And I think for me, that's a huge mental block because I don't know how to draw things that you would identify.
Yeah.
I feel like, well, then I can't be an artist. If I can't draw, I can't be an artist. But of course, like drawing is one of 1,000 ways of being an artist,
Mhm.
but still I get stuck there. I love painting. I have had actual exhibitions where I've shown my paintings before, which still kind of blows my mind. I can't believe that I've done that. um, I love watercolor. I love stitching leaves. I love stitching paper. I love anything that is slow and process based. And then doing things like the bilateral drawing. It kind of has the same healing effects of like certain therapeutic modalities because you're allowing your brain to just release and be in this moment and processing and integrating again without words. Because for a lot of us, the things that we're trying to heal through are from pre-verbal times. They're not things that we need to put words to. And as a person who's lived from my neck up most of my life, so most of my therapy has just been intellectualizing
Yeah.
feelings. And I remember someone once said to me, like, wow, you're really good at thinking your feelings. I'm like, yes, I am. And so then learning how to feel your feelings is a whole different thing and
Yeah.
still hard. That does not come naturally or easily to me. I still think my default setting is to think my feelings, but process art helps me feel them. And I don't have to have words for it because if I start putting words to it, now I'm thinking about them again. I'm not
Yeah.
feeling them anymore.
Yeah.
And I really think that to heal through things, to process, to feel a little bit more peace in our existence, we need to feel it. We need to feel it. We can't just keep thinking about it.
Yeah. Okay. So knowing that this is going to be online in probably a few weeks' time, what is happening for you later on in June, July, August? What's going on this year for you?
One of the coolest things I'm doing right now is working for the third time with the PEI Transgender Network on a community anthology. So we made the first one in 2023, the second one in 2024, and now this will be the third one where the whole book is from local people who are trans and gender diverse. All ages can be in the book. The first year we did it was all written works. Then we're like, wait a second, there's people who don't write, who also have really cool ways of expressing themselves.
Right.
So how do we get a bit more budget? Because obviously printing a book with colored art inside is much more expensive than printing a book with just words. So we did that the second year. And so it had 24 local trans and gender diverse folks in there, all kinds of visual art and the writing, not just poetry, also memoir, excerpts of plays, short stories, long stories. And then this year will be the same, where we will have a variety of written and visual arts. So the submissions for that is due in June. And so we will have the fun job in the next couple of months of going through
Putting that
these
together.
many, many submissions. And it's so fun to tell a collective story with individual voices. And this year we enhanced the project by building in a mentorship component. So there are two people working with me as I'm the mentor, they are mentees. And to me, those words are kind of weird because I learn as much from them as they do from me. I'm kind of coming with the technical skills of here's how we literally make a book, but then they're coming with their own creative brilliance that gets to teach me every time we have conversations. And so together, the three of us will build this book that will be launched at the beginning of Trans Awareness Week in November. So that's kind of that's my most exciting, I think, project for 2026. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And I love that. Like, as much as I enjoy the solo things I do as the introvert who likes to create alone in my basement, love that. But the output to the world, I really prefer the collective and community-based stuff rather than it just being about my voice. I enjoy including my voice. My voice will also be in the book, but it's not just my voice. It's sharing like a collective story in this point in time when it's very important that we have queer and trans voices out into the world.
100%. And community matters, like
Absolutely.
community, working within community makes everybody lift everybody else up. And
Absolutely.
it's a bigger voice and it's a bigger movement. It's
we're not meant to be these individuals that just live completely individually. Like, what a weird capitalist colonial way that we have created in our society. And I think slowly we're getting back to realizing, oh shit, actually we need each other. We need each other in this. We can't, even the introverts, even the ultra independents, we actually do still need other humans. And art's a fun way of doing that, of creating together.
Exactly. Yeah. Or even just talking about art, because
yes,
that's another thing I was asked on the radio was what why are you doing this? What are your reasons? And, there's a million of them. But one of the reasons was that because I have a day job that I love that's not in the creative zone necessarily, I needed to find a way to be in the arts community without necessarily physically being in the arts community all
Absolutely.
the time.
Yeah, we don't get a chance often to talk about it, like, in long form. As we talked about
Yeah.
before we started recording, like, people have no attention spans anymore. Like, I post videos sometimes for 30 seconds to try to, like, encourage something. People drop off after 3 seconds. And here I am being like, "Where are the 2-hour-long conversations?" Like, I want to hear that. I wanna hear the
Yeah.
juicy bits, because in all of our highlight reels of 30 seconds, we're just saying the thing that we think people wanna hear.
I
But when
know.
we actually have a conversation, we can get a bit deeper. And to me, I don't know, that's where the joy is, that's where the juice is. I love that.
Same. Yep. Love it. So where can people find your books?
A few ways. From me directly, of course, is always the best way for any artist.
Mhm.
Buying from them directly is the best way. So my website is juliebull.net. Everything is available there, including workshops, knowing how to work with me one-to-one or in groups. It's all on there. I also have my books at Bookmark in Charlottetown and at the Gallery Coffee House and Bistro, and here at the Black and White Cafe in St. Peter's Bay.
In the landing shops. We're looking
Yeah.
at it right now.
Exactly. They're opening up for the season.
Yep. I was there the other day.
Yep.
What did I have? It was so good. It was a dill pickle scone.
Ooh,
Blew my mind.
that does sound lovely.
Anyway, cheers to the venues also who keep working with artists and holding
Absolutely.
space for
I
those
love that
things.
about PEI. Like, I lived here before, then I moved to Toronto for 10 years and came back here in 2019 before the pandemic, which smart. It's like I had some new thing that I didn't know was happening, but I knew to get back here. But I don't think I would have had the same feelings of connection to artistic community if I was still living in Toronto.
Yeah.
Like, I think being in PEI, wow, we have a small population, but so many creative people and so many businesses that are willing to support each other and creatives willing to support each other.
Mhm.
I don't feel the sense of competition the same way that I would, I think, in bigger centers. I mean, you feel it in the way of funding and stuff like that because
Sure.
there's such a small amount and
Smaller
so
pot.
many of us trying to access that very tiny pot of money. But
Yeah.
from each other, I feel a lot more collaboration and support than I do competition, which feels good.
Yeah. We find a way to make it happen, I think,
Absolutely.
on PEI
Yeah.
all the time. Yeah. Well, this was super fun, and thank you so much, and I can't wait to read your erotic collection because I haven't read it yet.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, thanks again.
Thank you. So lovely.
It's nothing and everything. It's a gentle sigh and a scream into the void. It can leave you. It can be you if you let it. You don't know what to do and you don't know what to say. Forget all that. Start anyway. Spark that fire and build it high and watch it burn. Then let it die. It can make you cry. It can dry your eyes. It can be the one that keeps you warm inside, and it breaks your heart, then tells you where to start if you let it. You don't know what to do, and you don't know what to say. Forget all that. Start anyway. Spark that fire, then build it high. Watch it burn, and let it die. It can make you stand up, make you fly. It's a lifetime. In the blink of an eye, it's obsession and objection to the status quo. You got a lot to do, and you got a lot to say. Just write it out, get it on the page. Find your crew, get mobilized, and maybe soon you'll realize that it's nothing and everything. It's a gentle sigh and a scream into the void. It can leave you, it can be you if you let it.